Here are solutions to homework set number 5 for ECE 111, Intro to ECE. This homework set looks at renewable energy, using Matlab to analyze solar panels, solar energy, and wind energy to see is it economical in North Dakota. So the point of this homework set is using Matlab is also tie into last week's lecture where we mentioned that CO2 levels are going up, temperatures going up, ice is melting. Kind of bad news. But there is hope. There are ways around producing energy with fossil fuels. That's renewables. That's jobs for electrical computer engineers and probably help the planet. But regardless, let's look at these solar panels. Now, if you hop on eBay, you can buy this solar panel kit today. It's $7,000. It's got 10 kilowatts hours of battery, 10 kilowatts of solar panels, plus inverters. Suppose you bought that, put it on your house. Is this a good investment from a purely economic standpoint? Meaning, how much money would you produce on a monthly basis? How many years would it take to pay for itself? And if it's less than 7 years, that's kind of the rule of thumb used in business. It's a good investment financially. So let's start with that. Well, the first thing you need is data. If I put these panels on my house, how much energy would I produce? Well, this is where NDON comes into play. If you go on Bison Academy, under NDON right here, one of the links, this takes you to the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network. If you click on one of these sites, this has the weather station. They're scattered all across North Dakota, Minnesota, Montana. This is what the weather station looks like. It measures solar, wind direction, temperature, humidity, ground moisture, ground temperature, all sorts of data like that. This is really designed for crop studies, not really designed for wind energy, solar energy, but the data is available. So let's use it. If I go under weather data, hourly, these are all the various sites that you can choose from. Let's pick one, like how about Rolla, North Dakota. Here's all the data that you can get. We're currently doing solar energy, so let's look at the solar radiation average. And let's pick 4 weeks that are fairly typical. So February isn't probably the best month. That's during the winter. Pick something during the equinox, say September 25. Let's go from the 1st to 30th. Get table. So here's the data in English units, like UG. Make sure you do everything in metric. Rule of thumb in engineering, keep everything metric, makes life a whole lot easier. There's your wind speed, or the solar energy in megajoules per square meter. Export CVS file, open it, and here's your data. Well, if you open it, I don't have Excel on my computer. If you had Excel, it would open up. There's your data. Pull out that last column and put that into Matlab. So here in Matlab, I copy-pasted into Matlab, gave it the variable name megajoules. I've got 672 data points. Then if I plot it, this is the solar intensity in Carrington, North Dakota for the month of September 2025. And you can see the sunrise, sunset, cloudy days, sunny days. That's the raw data right around the equinox. Once I have that data, let's do some analysis. The units are megajoules per square meter. To convert to kilowatts, how many kilowatts I'd be producing, do a unit conversion. So suppose I had 1 megajoule per square meter. What that is in kilowatt hours is do unit cancellation. This is a trick in engineering. I've got to find a conversion from one unit to another. Kind of go step by step to get the units to match up. So here, 1 megajoule is 1 million watt seconds, so the megajoules cancel. I've got 54 panels, 0.89 square meters per panel. Panels cancel. The square meters now cancel. I've got 1,000 kilowatts per megawatt. The megawatts cancel. I've got 3,600 seconds per hour. The seconds cancel. And that's at 100% efficiency. At 21.5% efficiency, I get 2.87. So 1 megajoule is 2.87. That's my conversion factor. just multiply the megajoules by 2.87. That's how many kilowatts these solar panels should be producing. So let's do that conversion and plot it. If I built these solar panels on my house and had them facing south, this is how much I'd be producing on an hourly basis. So on a good day, I'd be producing right around 7.5 kilowatts of electricity, and varies. Now note the system also has batteries, so when it's not producing, when it's overproducing, I can store the energy in the batteries and use them up at night. Question 3 is, okay, once I've gotten everything in terms of kilowatt hours, or kilowatts, how much energy would I produce total? What's the value of the energy, assuming 11 cents per kilowatt hour? And how many pounds of coal would that offset? Well, if I take this graph and integrate it, the area under the curve is kilowatt hours. So the height is your kilowatts, the width is 1 hour, the data is collected every 1 hour. So add them all up, width times height, I get kilowatt hours. It'll be roughly 1,000 kilowatt hours of energy produced during that month. The value of that electricity is $118 at 11 cents kilowatt hour, so my utility bill would be reduced by $118. It takes 1.78 pounds of North Dakota lignite to produce 1 kilowatt hour of electricity. That would offset 1,900 pounds of lignite for one house for 1 month. They're actually big numbers. Now, multiplied by 800,000 people in North Dakota, it can actually get pretty significant. In terms of payback time, this is how many dollars for 28 days. This is how many dollars per year. The kit costs $69.99, so it'll take about 4.5 years to pay for itself. So surprisingly, solar panels are actually cost-effective in North Dakota. Now, North Dakota is noted for a lot of things. Being the nation's sunny spot is not one of them. Even in North Dakota, wind energy actually is economic. So you're seeing that all across the country. People are putting up solar panels. It's a really good investment. There are a couple caveats. This is a little bit naive analysis. I assume every month of the year is like September. September is the equinox, so it's kind of a fair month. Some months are sunnier, some are less. If you wanted to, I could do analysis back to 1990. There's data on NDON going back for the last 36 years. The price is going to change. Solar prices are dropping. The solar panels, for example, have dropped 54% in price over the last 2 years alone. So as solar energy prices drop, they get more and more economical every year. Already it's economic. It's going to be really economic in the near future. And kind of one suggestion. When you buy a house, look at the roof. You want a roof that faces south. Even if you don't install solar panels today, you might want to in the future. You're going to get more and more cost effective. Having a south-facing roof gives you that option. Currently, there is no premium for houses with south-facing roofs. My guess is that there will be. So just a word of advice. When you're looking for houses, look at the roof. It will matter in the near future. So that's the first one. Solar energy. That's actually really good news for electrical computer engineers. That means we got jobs. We will have jobs into the future as well. And those jobs help save the planet. But overall, it's good news. And the other neat thing is with Matlab, you can do analysis like this. Problem 5. Problem 5 looks at wind energy. If you go out and buy a Vestas wind turbine, how much energy would it produce? Well, once again, the first thing I need is data. Go back to NDON and pull out the average wind speed on an hourly basis. I can pull that in and plot it. For example, if I go back here, auto-scaling's fighting me. Let's go back. Under here, I want wind speed average. Pull that in for 4 weeks, or whichever time frame you want. Here, summer, winter, doesn't really make a huge difference. I just pulled in the December 25 wind speed in Carrington, North Dakota. This is what it looks like. Some days are windier than others. That's just the data. Now, let's convert that to kilowatts. If I built a Vesta 163 4.5 megawatt wind turbine, this is how much energy the wind turbine outputs based upon wind speed. Let's take this data and map it to kilowatts using this mapping. In addition, I have to note that the wind at 126 meters is stronger than it is at 2 meters. That's where NDON collects its data. So you need a fudge factor. This comes from Wikipedia. The wind speed at 126 meters is about 1.8 times the wind speed at 2 meters. That assumes flat terrain, things like that. Okay, so let's come up with a function. Given wind speed in meters per second, what's the kilowatts? Well, two parts are really easy. I'm going to pass the data. At each data point, I'll do this mapping. If the wind speed is less than 3, the power is 0. If it's more than 13, the power is 4,500. In the middle, I've got this data. So what I'm going to do is do a curve fit. I've got the data between 3 and 13. I've got the wind speed. Let's do a curve fit, and I'm going to choose a cubic function. Cubic fits out pretty well. Plus wind energy is a cubic function, which is part of the reason for using a cubic. Match this data with a cubic. So here's my data, least squares curve fitting. If I'm between 3 and 13, there's my curve fit, my cubic function curve fit. Spin through all the data, and then when you're done, kick out the answer. To check my curve fit, let's just have x go between 0 and 15, and then analyze. What's it look like? So this is the wind speed, 0 to 15 meters per second. Here's the power output in kilowatts. The solid red line is my data, the power curve. The dotted red line is my curve fit. And that seems to match pretty well. So let's go with it. Calling that a good mapping. I can now take my raw data, scaled up to 129 meters, convert that to kilowatts, and plot it. Here's what it looks like. This is the energy produced in kilowatts versus day. Some days are windier than others. So here's clipping, 4.5 megawatts. Some days the wind's not really producing much. That's what I get. Okay, so let's analyze that data. How many kilowatts would I produce over those 28 days? That's integration, or Matlab sum. The width is 1, so the sum is also the integral. This would produce 1.3 million kilowatt hours. Big number. How much money would it produce? Assuming 11 cents a kilowatt hour, it would produce $147,000. How many pounds of coal does that offset? Assuming 1.78 pounds of coal is 1 kilowatt hour, that's what Milton Young Power Plant uses, that would offset 2.3 million pounds of coal just over 1 month. That's for one wind turbine for 1 month. You're getting big numbers. How long does the wind turbine take to pay for itself? If it costs $5.85 million and I'm getting $147,000 a month, or every 28 days, it'll take about 3 years to pay for itself. So from an economic standpoint, this is a really good investment. And again, there are a couple assumptions in there that are somewhat iffy, but kind of gives you an idea. Wind energy is actually very economic. That's good news for North Dakota. We have a lot of wind and sun. That's good news for electrical computer engineers. We got jobs. So, also one other thing, wind energy is also compatible with farming. If you have a bunch of wind turbines up, the land's not ruined. You can still have cows grazing around it. You can still farm around it. It's actually fairly benign. So that is lecture number, or homework set number 5 for ECE 111. With renewable energies, there are ways to produce energy without producing fossil fuels, or without producing greenhouse gases, without using fossil fuels. They're economic, and they provide jobs for electrical computer engineers. So that's really good for us in the future. The other thing to note is with Matlab. With Matlab and some data from the web, I can do fairly complex analysis like this. Matlab is a really useful tool. So that is homework set number 5 for ECE 111.